When one considers the name Molly McLaren, it, for me at least, conjures images of historical romance, folk songs, and the name itself has a melody and cadence to it that even makes it enjoyable to say. What it does not convey is a feeling of horror, or of terror, or of pain. But for one Molly McLaren, these would have been her feelings in her final moments, as she was butchered in her own car by an ex-partner that had become her stalker. It's another case of a man refusing to accept rejection and taking matters into his own hands. It stands as a stark warning to be careful who you trust and who you allow into your inner circle. This is the terrifying case of Molly McLaren, and this is Murder of Crows. Molly McLaren was born on the 26th of May 1994 and was extremely close to her parents and her brother. By 2016, she was a second-year university student studying sport and exercise for health at the University of Kent. She had a history of mental health challenges, including a lengthy struggle with bulimia. But with her parents' support, she seemed to have turned a corner and was working as a fitness instructor and had a passion for exercising. And she also enjoyed blogging on all kinds of matters of health and of fitness. So, as befits a girl of her generation who was a regular blogger, she was active on all social media platforms. It really seemed that she was coming into herself and developing into a strong and healthy young lady. Even better, she had recently matched with a guy on Tinder, and she was embarking on the first serious relationship she had ever had. After a short while of dating, they became an official couple. and Molly had introduced Joshua Stimson to her parents, and the double glazing salesman had made a decent impression. Hooray, Steve! What a nice story you're telling today. Makes a change from all that murder and shit. Whoa, 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 whoa there, easy, Tiger. It's called true crime because 1, it's true, and 2, it involves crime. So hold on to your pants and we'll get there. I tell grim stories, not stories by the brothers Grimm, which were pretty bleak themselves, in fairness, but anyway. Let's see what happens with Molly and Josh after the honeymoon period of their early relationship. Molly and Josh had originally bonded over a shared history of mental health issues. But while Molly had a strong support network and tackled her issues head on, Josh claimed to have a history of bipolar disorder, but gave little information on how he had tackled or was tackling his issues. With hindsight, this could have been something of a red flag. But with the couple smitten with each other, it wasn't a big thing. At least not at first. But his fluctuating moods that had long been noticed but brushed aside by his workmates soon became more and more of an issue, and he flipped between charming and exuberant, but then at times irrational and isolated. His desire to be the center of attention, and always the center of Molly's attention, was getting exhausting for the young lady who wanted a partner in a fun life. In March of 2017, Molly attempted to end the relationship, but Josh wore her frustrations down and wheedled his way back into her life, and she agreed to rekindle the relationship. But when this particular leopard did not change his spots and his mood swings and attempts to manipulate her started up again, she saw history repeating. The couple took a holiday together to Tenerife in May of 2017. But even while on the holiday, she was contacting friends to say that things weren't good between the pair. She resolved to address the situation when they returned home. Things came to a head when Josh joined Molly on a night out with her friends on the 17th of June 2017. And after she told Josh that they were done and the relationship was over, Josh kicked off and created drama before leaving in a strop. I have no idea what her problem was. He certainly sounds like a keeper. In order to try and bring a finality to the latest breakup, Molly blocked Josh on all social media platforms, and their 7-month relationship was over. If a woman is in a relationship with a man whose behaviour seems questionable, most true crime fans will be aware that the most dangerous time is right after the relationship has ended. And this case was no different. Now, at first, Josh's unwillingness to accept the end of the relationship took the form of a multitude of calls and texts, with the aim of begging the young lady to give him another chance. But Molly's mind was made up. So what did Josh do at this stage? Well, Josh decided to turn the crazy up a notch, as you do. And to make sure he could have the maximum impact on Molly's online presence, over the week after the breakup, he decided to take his butthurt feelings and expose them on social media platforms with an added teeny tiny pinch of filthy lies. He would post screenshots of private conversations and posted bitchy and insulting comments, even suggesting that Molly used cocaine. But not satisfied with just posting them on a public forum, Josh would also be sure to tag Molly's family members to make doubly certain that his efforts would hit close to home. His behaviour was reported to the police, and while they did speak to him regarding his behaviour and ask him to take down the posts that he had put up, he paid little heed and effectively ignored their suggestions. His bitterness and anger were escalating very, very quickly, But so far it had been calls, texts and social media. So there was still a distance and an arm's length feeling to the hurt that he was causing Molly. But that would soon change too. On the 28th of June, Molly was planning a night out with friends to celebrate one of the group getting a new job. They were going to the Ship and Trades pub in Chatham. While there, she was extremely unpleasantly surprised to see Josh Stimpson enter the pub with a woman, and with it seeming like Josh and this woman were on a date. Molly's friend Chloe Stone described how Molly didn't seem scared by Stimpson's sudden appearance, referring to Josh on the night as a creep. At first there was confusion as to how he had worked out where Molly would be that night. But the group soon realised it had been posted on Instagram earlier that day. During the course of the evening, Stimpson had walked right past the table that the group of girls were at, and he walked towards the smoking area even though he didn't smoke. Now apparently Josh went into the smoking area and just stood there looking back at the girls. When Molly went to leave, she told her friends it was because she wanted to tell her mum that Stimpson had shown up at the pub that night. To which her friends told her, "Don't worry about that psycho." Which, in fairness, is probably what I would have said. But she should have been worried about that psycho, because Josh's behaviour was clearly starting to escalate, and escalate quickly. The day after the encounter at the pub, Molly went to her usual gym, that being Pure Gym at Dockside in Chatham. She was seen by a member of staff entering the gym at 10:10 a.m. that morning. Now shortly after this, Josh Stimpson entered the gym and started exercising near to Molly, whereupon she challenged him and asked him if he was following her, a query that he brushed off. Now Molly tried to ignore the intrusion, but his presence had put her off doing exercise, and at 10:45 a.m. she sent her mum a message saying what had happened, with Josh showing up. Clearly it was still heavy on her mind, as shortly after that message she actually called her mum, who told her to just come home. Her frustrations were further vented in an angry WhatsApp message to her friends about being fed up fucking looking over my shoulder all the time. She decided to head home, and at around 11 AM she left the gym to head to her car. Unfortunately, Josh wasn't done disrupting Molly's day just yet. He followed her out of the gym, and as she was getting ready to start her car to head for home, he tore open the car door and, without word or warning, launched into a frenzied knife attack on Molly as she sat in her own car. Molly was stabbed 75 times in the attack. There were numerous witnesses in the busy car park, one of whom, Benjamin Morton, very bravely tried to intervene to stop Stimson attacking Molly. Morton pulled at Stimson and slammed Stimson's leg in the car door. He then ran to his own car and moved it to stop Stimson being able to get his own car out of the car park. Having found his escape blocked, Stimson instead just paced around in the car park until police arrived, and Stimson was arrested without issue, or indeed without even a whimper, as befits a brave man like him. As Stimson was arrested, paramedics made valiant attempts to save Molly's life, but she was declared dead on the scene at 11:43 AM. The facts of the case were clear, given the witnesses and CCTV evidence. But less clear were Stimson's reasons. In the aftermath of the horrific attack, Stimson was making a defense of diminished responsibility. And this would be the defense that he would carry through to the trial, which began in January of 2018 at Maidstone Crown Court. It was at the trial that Stimson's behaviour in earlier relationships was brought to light. Unbeknown to Molly and her family, Josh had a history of troubling and manipulative behaviour, and this history was explained in the testimony of two of his previous partners. Alexandra Dale said that Josh had been a possessive boyfriend who slashed her car tyres and even threatened to drown her on one occasion. Leah Hubbard told a similar story. She said Josh had become increasingly controlling and started stalking her after they split up. And he only stopped after Leah contacted the police. Josh's childhood, involving his parents divorcing, was also laid bare. Stimson was abandoned by his mother, which left him with a deep fear of isolation. But despite what Stimson had told Molly, the psychologists who examined him found that he didn't have bipolar disorder. And this put a massive hole in his defense of diminished responsibility, as his mental health issues weren't considered severe enough to support his plea. In addition, Stimson had bought the murder weapon 2 days before the crime, so the attack was clearly premeditated. And it's no coincidence that Josh turned up at Molly's gym. Molly's location services remained switched on that morning, and Josh had used this to his advantage. Although no one knows this for certain, it's highly likely that he used Snapchat's Snap Map feature to track Molly's location. Unsurprisingly, given his seemingly rational forward planning and clarity of thought, the jury rejected his diminished responsibility, and he was found guilty and then later, on the 6th of February 2018, he was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 26 years. Good enough for the dangerous, self-absorbed cockwomble.
This was the moment police arrived at the Dockside Outlet Shopping Centre car park just moments after Joshua Stimson stabbed his ex-girlfriend to death in her car last June. The footage captured on police cameras shows him covered in blood when officers arrived and arrested him. The attack happened on the 29th of June, and the 23-year-old University of Kent student Molly McLaren was pronounced dead at the scene after being stabbed dozens of times. During the trial at Maidstone Crown Court, 26-year-old Joshua Stimpson from Waltham had admitted manslaughter, claiming diminished responsibility, but denied murder. He claimed he was bipolar, and the court heard he had a personality disorder, something the defence argued meant he wasn't fully in control of his actions when he attacked Molly. But today the jury unanimously found Stimpson guilty of her murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Molly's family made a statement after the sentencing this afternoon.
The verdict has brought us a small measure of comfort, but it seems that nothing will take away the pain or allow us to come to terms with our Molly being taken from us. We are serving a lifetime of pain, anguish and loss. This has affected so many people's lives, and our hearts go out to each and every one of you. Our focus now turns to making sure Molly will live on through the Molly McLaren Foundation, helping people with eating disorders.
The family have been through 2 weeks of pure hell, with the early plea in relation to the manslaughter that we weren't going to accept for obvious reasons have been played out in front of the jury. But it did mean to say that by him not accepting his guilt, this was going to be a 2-week trial where the family were going to be taken through some quite horrific details. And I think you've seen the reaction of the family today, and my thoughts go out to them.
During the trial, the jury saw CCTV footage of Stimpson at Asda in Chatham buying the knife which he used to kill Molly. He also bought a pickaxe from Homebase in Chatham, which was recovered from his car after the killing. The court also heard how Molly had repeatedly sent messages to her friend saying she was worried about Stimpson's behaviour. Today, Stimpson is starting a minimum term of 26 years before he can be considered for release. This is Louisa Britton for KMTV.
In order to create an ongoing legacy, Molly's family set up the Molly McLaren Foundation to raise money for charities that help people with eating disorders, and I will leave a link to the foundation in the video description. Given her own struggles with bulimia, it is a fitting tribute for Molly's name to be linked with helping others who are struggling to address their relationship with food. This video is unquestionably dedicated to Molly. At 23, she was just starting to find her feet and forge a path through life. I send love and hugs to her family and friends. Hello, Trouble. You coming to say goodbye to everybody then? Come on then. You coming up? Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I'm Steve, and back from his swift lap of the flat, this is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that